welcome back to another episode of Play and Learn. My name is Kathleen, and I would like to say Dia Dewit and Falcha. Those are Irish words. Dia Gowit means hello, and Falcha means welcome. I'm so glad you came to see me today. I have a lot of cool things to show you. First, we're going to read a story called the Fairy Lios. Then, we're going to teach a craft, and then I'll teach you one more word from the Irish language. But first, let's get into the story. One afternoon in early summer, Eithne and her brother Connor were playing in the field behind their house. Eithne was busy making daisy chains, and then she decided to pick some of the wildflowers that were growing in the field. Her favorites were the bluebells. "Don't pick the flowers from the Fairy Lios, Eithne, or you will be sorry," her brother warned. Eithne ignored his warning and continued to pick the bluebells from the center of the Lios. "There are so many growing here that the fairies couldn't possibly notice if a few were picked," she answered. The children returned home, and Eithne put the bluebells in a vase on the kitchen table. As soon as their mother heard that she had picked them from the Lios, she rushed outside and put them on the window ledge. She knew that if the fairy people were angry, Eithne might be punished for interfering with the Lios, and so she was. After Eithne lay down in bed that night, she jumped up screaming. Her bed was full of nettles. She tried to sleep in her parents' bed, but as soon as she laid down, it was too full of nettles. She tried Connor's bed, but the same thing happened. "I'm sorry I ever went near the Lios," she cried. Her parents went to visit a wise old woman who lived nearby to ask what they should do. "The fairies will not be easy to please," she said, "but if someone in your family could do a good deed for them, perhaps they might remove the nettles." The family thought and thought, but what could they possibly do for the fairy people? At last, Connor had an idea. That night, he crept out of the house and went to the Lios. At midnight, the lights twinkled in the Lios, and he could hear soft, light music. Connor loved music, and he could play all sorts of tunes on his fadog, tin whistle. He recognized some of these tunes and thought to himself that it was strange that little people should have the same music as mortals. Cautiously, he pulled back the bushes, and there in front of him were fairies and leprechauns dancing merrily. "The leprechaun has a whistle just like mine," he thought. When the music stopped, Connor moved forward. There was silence. Then, one of the leprechauns spoke angrily. "Your sister disrupted our Lios, and now you have come to disturb our dance?" No, said Connor. "I have come to tell you how sorry she is. I promise that she will never do such a thing again. Please take the nettles from her bed and let her sleep." "Impossible," said the leprechaun. "Go away before we punish you too." He turned to the musician. "Let the music start again." Connor stood outside the Lios, feeling very sad. It seemed that there was nothing to be done. His sister would never be able to sleep in a bed again. Then he had another idea. Connor listened to the music once more. When the next dance was over and he thought the piper was resting, he began to play a soft, sad tune. Playing his tune all the while, he parted the bushes and stepped into the Lios. This time, the fairy people listened. He played for what seemed to be forever, and when he finished, not a sound was to be heard. Then the applause began, and the leprechaun who had spoke earlier spoke again. "Well played, Connor. You are a brave young man. We must reward you." "Oh no, I don't want anything for myself. I just want to help my sister Eithne." The leprechaun turned to the others. They nodded. "Return home," he said. "We will grant your wish." Dawn broke, and in an instant the Lios was emptied, and the she vanished. When Connor returned home, he found Eithne fast asleep in bed. His family knew that Connor had somehow broke the spell, but they also knew they could never ask how. I hope you enjoyed that story. I know I did. Now, let's get into the craft. I hope you liked the craft, and if you did end up making it, you can have an adult help share it with us on social media or email it to us at info@irishchicago.org. Before you go, I want to teach you one more word from the Irish language. It's fadog. You might have heard it in the story. It means tin whistle. That's the instrument Connor played to the leprechauns. Now let's go through all the words we learned today. Fadog, that means tin whistle. Dia gowit means hello. And falcha means welcome. Great job! Now it's time for me to say slán. That means goodbye in Irish. Slán, see you next time.